Welcome to the video today. We're going to be doing a Day of the Dead school drawing. I'm going to do the drawing approximately A6 size. So I've got a piece of A4 paper, folded it in four, and I'm drawing around that very lightly onto a piece of paper, just to roughly mark out the size I would like the school to be. Next, I'm going to be drawing at the top of that area. I'm going to draw a circle. It doesn't have to be an exact circle, but what I'm doing is first of all just moving my arm in that circular motion and imagining where my circle is going to be, and then I'll slowly put the pencil down and start to go around and around in circles, trying to find as near to a circle as I can with that motion. It doesn't have to be exact though, so just roughly a circle. Then in the bottom of that rectangle, we're going to draw another rectangular shape. So you can see I've not gone to the edges of that area. I've stayed in the shape a little bit. I've left a little bit of a border. Now I'm marking out where I think the midpoint of that circle is, and I'm checking that with my pencil. If that's not right, I can always move it, but this time it was quite accurate, so I've just gone ahead and drawn that line in. And we're trying to get it as symmetrical as we can in this drawing. Then I'm going to go on and make the jaw a little more defined and a bit better shape. So on the bottom of that area, I'm just adding a little bit of an arc. It's almost like a C, a very flat C, just to give that jaw a little bit more shape at the bottom. Now I'm going to mark out again about halfway between the jaw and the top of the skull. It's a little bit out, so I'm just going to move that line down. You can see how I measure that with the pencil. If you're not sure how to do this, you can just use a ruler instead. But we roughly just want a halfway line because that's where the eye sockets are going to be positioned. For the eye sockets, I'm again just doing a rough circle. So you'll notice again I did the same technique, move my hand in that circular motion, slowly put the pencil down just to roughly mark out a circular kind of shape. And I've just put some lines there just to check they're about the same height, because again we want to get it as symmetrical as we can. Those two lines will mark out the height of the first socket, and I can compare that with the second. Okay, so next we're going to be adding in the nose cavity. So this is placed in between the two eye sockets, but not all the way to the top of the eye socket, so it's slightly below the center line of the eye sockets and then downwards. Now I'm going to put in a line where I want the top of the teeth to be. And you can look at the top of the jaw. You're going to have these two little pronounced shapes, which are just like two little half circles or two little C shapes at the top of the jawline. So I'm going to sketch those in, and then when I'm sure of where I want them, I can start to define them a little bit so they come in and towards the top of the teeth. Then to make the teeth up, we're going to put in a little arc or a little C shape below that top line, and another one again to make the bottom of the teeth there. So it's another C shape. Now for the teeth, we're going to start on the top upper teeth, and we're going to go from the center and work our way out. The teeth themselves are a kind of rectangular shape, but with curved corners and curved at the bottom as well. Notice how they are overlapping, so as you work your way out to the sides of the face, they get smaller and narrower because of the overlap. So do one side going to try and make it as symmetrical as we can, working the other way, and continue that outwards. The bottom teeth are essentially the same, a little bit more curvy towards the bottom of the tooth, and again they are going to be overlapping and getting smaller and narrower as they go towards the side of the face. Now I'm just adding the bottom jaw, a bit more definition there. The eye sockets are a little bit more irregular shapes, so I'm going to just emphasize the shape a little bit more, and to make it look a bit more 3D, I'm going to put that little lip on at the bottom of the eye sockets. So that's where you would see the inner rim of those eye sockets if you're slightly looking from above. Of course, the nose would have the same effect. I'm extending that out a little bit and just indicating a little bit of a rim at the bottom of the nasal socket there. Then we're going to add some shading to any of the areas which will be in shadow. So just at the inner side of the jaw there, in between the teeth, in the eye sockets, and the nasal cavity as well. Just cleaning up any lines that we no longer need before we start adding the shading. Around the edge of the skull itself, we're going to put a little bit of a gradient tone. So for this, we're going to imagine the light is coming from the front of the skull, so all the way around the edge of the skull and the outline of the skull, it would be slightly darker. So I'm turning the paper, shading as I go, putting a little bit more pressure on the outside of the skull, and then as I move my pencil towards the center, I'm going to release the pressure, so you get a nice little gradient tone there, fading from dark to light to create that illusion of depth. Now we've added our shading, we're going to add some designs and patterns in the style of the Day of the Dead. So I'm going to start off in the centre of the skull. I'm going to start off with a little flower. I'm going to draw a circle and another circle inside that. The inner circle will act as the middle of the flower, and then the outer circle is a guide for me how long the petals need to be. So I'm going to use that to keep the petals kind of uniform length, working my way around, creating that flower-like form. And of course you can also then add any of the shapes that you want to that. Quite often you see kind of little flourishes, love hearts, plants, flowers, candles, all of those things that are associated with that festival. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you would like to see some more.